Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're going to be doing another comparison on this Samsung Galaxy S20. As you guys know, that's like the newest Samsung phone that has came out, the S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra. And I really don't know if I'm going to get the Plus and the Ultra just because, I have so many videos to do with the S20 that, they're pretty much almost the same thing at the end of the day, except for the Ultra. That one's a pretty dope phone. But we're going to be comparing the S20 to one of its older predecessors. And this is a phone that came out a couple years ago, and honestly, it's made news several times. I've been recently talking about this phone a ton, and that phone is a Samsung Galaxy S8. Now that phone came out in 2017, and when that phone came out, I think of it a lot as the Galaxy S10 in a way, because when the S8 came out, it was pretty much like it was pushing the boundaries a little bit. There weren't really a lot of phones that were really doing what the S8 was doing at the time. There were obviously like better phones and everything like that, but the S8 was really one of those phones that kind of pushed the boundaries at the time, and the S10 was one of the phones that did that at the same time. But the S20 is kind of like that too in a lot of ways. Now I'm going to be hitting on basically everything on like as detailed as possible, but because I have 50 things to talk about, I won't be able to go into too many details. But because of that, I'm going to make separate speed tests and separate camera tests as well, so I'm not going to try to fit everything in this video. So this video is not going to be 45 minutes long. So whenever I drop those, I'll leave those linked down in the description below as well. But talking about the prices for a second, right now they're both on Amazon. You could pick them up however you want to. The Galaxy S20 costs the $1,000 that it should cost because it just came out, and I think it's publicly available today, so you can go to Best Buy and pick one up today if you want to, or you can get it from Amazon for $1,000 or all the same price. But on the Samsung Galaxy S8 side, I believe when it came out, it was $849 or $899 or $799, one of those phone prices. I don't really remember. But this phone has depreciated so much in that price point, and right now you can pick one up for about $220 on Amazon, which is a crazy low price to pay for a phone that honestly in a lot of ways is still pretty capable. It's not like this phone is like not able to do anything or it's outdated. Yeah, it's running kind of an outdated version of Android for a little bit, but it's still completely usable. It's still completely fine, and the hardware of it still feels really good, and I'm surprised that it's selling for that much, to be honest. But if you want to pick up either of these phones for the prices I just said, I'll leave links down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. But looking on the front of both phones, the Samsung Galaxy S8 has a 5.8-inch Super AMOLED display. It is a 1440p display, which is really nice, and that panel has always been really good, dude. I've always felt like Samsung phones, they just know how to make the panels, man. They knock it out of the park every single time. The Samsung Galaxy S8 is no exception. You have almost no bezel. I mean, there's still a little bit of bezel in today's standards. Like, that's a lot of bezel, but it really isn't. You have the bezel on the top and bottom, but the thing for me is that at least it's symmetrical. You don't have a notch. You don't have like even a hole punch display, if I'm being honest. It just kind of blends in with the phone, and at that time there were still phones who had a bunch of bezel on it, so this is like really not that big of a deal. And the panel is really good, and I like it a lot. Mine does have a lot of burn-in on it, which really sucks, but there's nothing I can do about it. But I like the panel a lot. I think it suits it very well. Whereas on the Samsung Galaxy S20, we have a 6.2-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It is a 1440p panel, and looking at that panel, it's so nice. I mean, it might be a little bit better than the S20, but the thing that I've always said, I think the screen sensitivity now on the S20 and the S10, it's just like out the roof. The S8 really didn't even feel that bad. The S20 though, it's like as soon as I even think about clicking something, it automatically clicks it, even if I didn't want to. So it's a little weird. It's not an end all be all, but that is something that's kind of weird. But the best advantage for the Galaxy S20's panel, and there's two of them, you have an inbuilt fingerprint sensor in the display, which is really, really nice. So you can just rest your finger on the middle portion of the bottom half of the display and it'll be able to unlock the phone, which is really, really cool. But on top of that, and this is definitely my favorite feature and the one I enabled as soon as I got it, it's that 120 hertz refresh rate on that display. So what does that mean? Basically, it refreshes the rate at twice the amount of frame rates as usual, so you have 60 hertz on basically every phone. On the S20, we can enable that and up in that to 120 hertz refresh, so it just makes the phone feel that much smoother. And there's really not that many phones in the market that can do that, and there's not even that many phones that can do 90 hertz. I mean, OnePlus series can do it now, but besides that, there's not a lot of phones that can do that, and the S20 is one of them. So it's definitely one of my favorite things about that phone for sure. And between the display, the S20 wins, but the Galaxy S8's phone, for being like a 2017 phone, is really not that bad, so that really covers it up in the front. On the bottom, you have USB Type-C on both phones, but the S8 does have the headphone jack, which is really cool. On the back, you can see a triple camera setup on the Galaxy S20, where the Galaxy S8 only has a single camera setup right next to its fingerprint sensor. So, of course, that S20 is going to win in the camera department, and I'm actually curious to see how well they compare and how much more grainier the photos may be on the S8, or maybe the S20s is going to be more grainier, who knows. They both have IP certification as well. The Samsung Galaxy S8 and the S20 both have IP68 dust and water resistance, which is really cool. So you can go up to 1.5 meters of water for 30 minutes. And they both have micro SD card slots, which is really, really awesome. So you can expand the storage on both phones. So in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it up. There's a lot of similarities between them, surprisingly. However, one spot where they're not similar at all is the software. So the Samsung Galaxy S20 right now is on Android 10 with One UI 2, which is cool. And I kind of like One UI 2. I still think they have a long way to go. I've been saying that for a long time, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. Whereas on the Samsung Galaxy S8, it started off with Android 7.0 Nougat. It is upgradable right now to Android 9.0 Pie, which is what I have now with One UI. And, you know, it's more or less the same. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, I made 50 videos talking about why Samsung should support the Samsung Galaxy S8 to the next version of Android. It could have easily supported it. The S8 is a tremendous phone, and the fact that they didn't do that is surprising to me. That was really like a blow to Samsung. I don't know why they did that. But what I will tell you is, in terms of the software, the Samsung Galaxy S20 is definitely going to outlast the Samsung Galaxy S8, whichever way you look at it. Like, it's not even a competition. The S8 is already outdated, where the S20 is just getting started. And I just recently put more research into it, and with the Galaxy S8, you can root it in custom ROM some variants of it, but you cannot do the Snapdragon. You cannot root the Snapdragon version if it's past, I think, Android Oreo, and you cannot custom ROM it if it's past Android Oreo as well. And I'm already on Android Pie, which is already kind of a dumb thing. So if you're getting a Galaxy S8 and you want to keep it as long as possible, I'd probably recommend picking up the Exynos version. That way you can actually root it and custom ROM it and install a bunch of custom ROMs on it. I'm actually thinking about picking one up to actually make a ton of videos about. I'm not really too sure, but if you want to keep it for as long as possible, I would recommend custom ROMing it, so pick up the Exynos version if you can. But in terms of the software, for the most part, that pretty much covers it up. You know, there's not that much you can hit on. You know, they're both on separate softwares pretty much at this point. So, and it's sad too, because Android 10, you know, One UI 2 was actually really cool. It brought gestures, it brought a system-wide dark mode, and I feel like, you know, Samsung was starting to make strides, and they eventually cut the ties with the Galaxy S8 this early. So that really pretty much covers it up there. Now, hitting on the performance side of things, the Samsung Galaxy S8 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and Adreno 540 GPU, and there's only one model of the S8 with 4GB of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy S20 has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and Adreno 650 GPU, and there's only one model of the S20 with 12GB of RAM. And I did a little speed test between them both, and what I can tell you is, in terms of the performance standpoint, the Galaxy S20 is the faster phone every single time. I mean, it's faster, it's smoother, it's less choppy, and overall, I'm actually really happy about the Galaxy S20's performance overall. But the thing you have to consider is that when the Galaxy S8 came out, it was the smoothest phone, it was the fastest phone over time. And the sad thing now is that, you know, I said the same thing about the Galaxy S10 last year, and that phone has shown that it's pretty choppy and lagging now too, which it's still a fast phone, but it's getting there. Like, it's getting like how the Galaxy S8 is now. So of course, the Galaxy S8 is not going to be as fast of a performing device as compared to the Galaxy S20, but I'm still pretty surprised about that. So what I'll tell you about the performance is that the S20 is definitely beating the Galaxy S8 out of the water, but the Galaxy S8's performance still isn't that bad, and I'll give it some credit for being able to, you know, keep up sometimes, but for the most part, the S20 is the faster phone for sure. I think we all pretty much knew that. Now, moving on to the camera sensors, again, I'll be doing separate speed tests and camera tests between both these phones as well, but the Samsung Galaxy S8 has a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, where the Galaxy S20 has a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, a 64 megapixel telephoto lens, and then another 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor. And right there alone should give you enough information that yes, the Samsung Galaxy S20 is the way better camera sensor. Not only are you getting better quality cameras, but you're getting additional cameras. You're getting 2 more cameras on the S20, where we didn't have any of that on the S8. And both phones can do 4K at 30, but the Galaxy S20 can do 4K at 60. But on top of that, the Galaxy S20 can shoot 8K videos, where the Samsung Galaxy S8 cannot, and it's a really, really big deal. You know, is it a big deal to a lot of people? Probably not, but it's a big deal to some people who are looking at the future. Maybe at some point people are going to switch over to 8K and the S20 is going to be able to shoot those type of videos, which is going to be super impressive. So on the front, 4K 60 on the Samsung Galaxy S20, but only 1440p at 30 on the Samsung Galaxy S8. But both cameras on the Galaxy S8 are pretty decent, but Samsung Galaxy S20 blows it out of the water completely. Now ending it off with the battery life, the Samsung Galaxy S8 had a 3000 mAh battery, the Samsung Galaxy S20 has a 4000 mAh battery, and between both, I mean, they both have wireless charging, but the Samsung Galaxy S20 does have reverse wireless charging, which is one of the coolest features ever. And especially if you're going to go ahead and, pick up a phone now in 2020, even if you have that reverse wireless charging, that is a feature that's still not on a ton of different phones. So you're going to really have a feature that is not capable on it really most other phones in the market now. So that's definitely a really cool thing. So between both, I mean, I would probably say the Galaxy S20 not only has a better battery life, but also has the better battery features as well, which is a really awesome thing. Now to kind of sum up this video and to answer the comparison, why do I keep saying that? Should you pick up a Galaxy S20? Should you keep your S8? Whatever. Like I said before, if you have all the money in the world, pick up a Samsung Galaxy S20. This is by far the best value per dollar. This is going to get you, from point A to point Z pretty much. It's going to last you for a long time, and it still has a ton of cool bells and whistles that a lot of phones don't have. But if you currently have a Galaxy S8, I would just recommend keeping it until S20 prices go down in the used market, and I would recommend picking it up from there. But also if you have a Galaxy S8 and you want to pick up another phone, I would recommend picking up a Galaxy S10, dude. You can pick up those things for like $400, I think, or even less than that on Amazon, and that's a really good price to pay for a phone like that. So I'll leave all three of those phones, the S20, S10, and S8, linked down in the description, so you can get them from there for the cheapest prices that I find. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. That like button that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count. It's leave me so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those things are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.